Hello again. Welcome to another episode of Pickup Lines. It is the talk show in a car. Today we are in the shadows, literally, of City Hall in downtown San Antonio with a man who has a lot of titles, not the least of which is Major General, retired Major General of the United States Marine Corps, Juan Ayala. It's great to see you, sir.
Great to see you.
And thank you. Thank you. First and foremost, thank you for your service. 36 years, is that correct?
36 years in the Marines.
And you still miss it?
I do miss. I miss the people. And, I miss the travel.
Yeah.
I got to go all over the world. I joined to get out of El Paso. Nothing wrong with El Paso.
Right. No disrespect.
But about 60 countries later, I get to travel a lot. And now I get to go to Austin. Which is fine, too.
Yeah, okay.
But it was a great career.
So you've been out about, is it 10 years now?
10 years, November was my 10-year mark. And yes, 10 years. I retired out of the Pentagon in 2015.
Okay, very good. All right. Well, as people typically know, I like to start at the beginning and work our way up to present day. So we have a lot to get to between now and then. But you alluded to the fact that you were born in El Paso, but the first few years of your life, you spent actually on the other side of the border.
I did. So my family spent the first 6 years. I'm the oldest of 9 in Juarez, in Mexico.
Across the border from
right
El Paso.
Across the border, yes. And so we moved when I was about 6 years old. To El Paso, and I went to the first grade, of course, and flunked it because I didn't speak English. Went to a great program, which still exists, called Head Start.
Sure, yeah.
And that's where I really it started my way forward.
Hard to believe that you flunked first grade, but I mean, and let's kind of go back a little bit because your dad had a restaurant, right?
He did
in Juarez, and then moved to El Paso.
Well, it was in El Paso, so he started a little restaurant, a little mom and pop restaurant in El Paso. And it reminds me, Blanco's kind of reminds me of it.
Blanco's Cafe.
Blanco's Cafe.
Because your dad was Victor's Cafe, right?
So it was Victor's Cafe, and I started working there when I was 6.
I heard the menudo was
excellent,
on point,
and I still make it actually.
You got the recipe.
I do.
All right, fantastic stuff. So you're bouncing back and forth. You end up in El Paso and everything. You talk about first grade. You kind of struggled. But yeah, you didn't speak English.
I didn't speak English, no.
But you eventually learned it, obviously.
Eventually, I learned it, and again, kudos to the Head Start folks.
Right. At what age did you decide? Again, no disrespect to El Paso, but that you weren't going to spend the rest of your life there?
Very early age. I wanted to travel. I wanted to see the world, and so around the 5th grade, I made a decision in my young mind that I was going to join the military. Actually. And
was there already military in your family?
There was no military in my family, and it was, coming from Mexico, my parents had a very different view of the military, just because militaries are seen very differently in those countries. And so when I told my dad that I wanted to join the military, this was when I was young, he said, okay, we'll see.
Right.
But I was in the 5th grade. No, he wasn't buying it.
What about your mother?
My mom, no, neither one of them. Neither one of my parents thought that I should go into the military. My father wanted me to get a degree, and actually my mother did more than my dad.
Right. Did either one of them have any education?
My mother did graduate from school, high school, and she was a nurse actually in Mexico. My father, no, he did not have maybe past the 6th grade education.
Really? But your dad wanted you to take over the restaurant.
He did. So as the oldest of 9, when I graduated from UTEP, Texas El Paso.
Right.
He said, you need to take over the restaurant. Traditional, old Mexican
Not
ways,
surprising,
not at all. And I said, Dad, I want to do something easier. I'm going to join the Marine Corps.
Easier?
That was hard work. I tell you, I learned a lot in that restaurant. Not only about discipline.
You washing dishes?
I started peeling potatoes.
Peeling potatoes?
On a Coke bottle box back in those days.
Sure, yeah.
Started peeling potatoes and eventually, a crate. I waited tables, I washed dishes, I learned how to cook. And by the time I was in the school, a senior in school, I was helping him with the books.
Because you were a business major.
Yes, I had a business degree, yes.
Right. But they couldn't convince you to stay.
They could not. And it wasn't the work. I don't mind the work. I just wanted to get out of El Paso, and I wanted to travel, and I was always intrigued with the military.
And the Marine Corps in particular, none of the other branches.
No, the Fort Bliss is there in El Paso.
In El Paso, right.
And I saw the soldiers, nothing wrong with the soldiers.
Sure.
But I was intrigued by the challenge that the Marine Corps presented to me at the time.
Right. So that means going off, and forgive me my ignorance, but so you go off, is it to Virginia?
Yes. So I graduated from college, and then I went to Quantico, Virginia.
Quantico, right.
And there we went through Officer Candidate School. I passed that.
Long way from El
A
Paso.
long way from El Paso, and Quantico, Virginia is also very isolated, and especially when they had the Marine training, very isolated. But, I got to see the capital of the U.S. Going back and forth, so it was a good training.
Just blow your mind?
It did. It
Yeah.
really did. It really expanded my worldview, and I think I was the only Hispanic in the platoon of 70, and it got me to work with folks. And really work hard with folks from other cities and other states from all over the U.S.
I heard you tell a story where you said, yeah, you were the only Hispanic or Mexican American in your platoon. I think there may have been an African American there as well. And you have been open about some of the, I don't know if bullying is the word, or some of the not so nice things that were said about you as it relates to your heritage.
It was, and at the time, this was in the 70s.
Sure.
And a lot of the old Vietnam era type folks were still, especially the non-commissioned officers, were still in the service. But I remember when I first got there that, boy, they called you every name in the book. They don't do that anymore. But
some things you can't repeat here?
Well, they called me Chief.
Yeah, I heard that because they thought you were Native American.
They did. And I got the courage, because it's really because they're yelling at you. And I was young. Told the drill instructor, said, my name isn't, I'm not a Native American. He said, what the heck are you?
Yeah.
And then he yelled, and I said, I'm a Mexican American.
Right.
And then he went off on me and said, you are a so-and-so and so, and I really hate you, and blah, blah, blah. I said, why is that? He says, because I thought all along that you had killed Custer. And they said, now I find out that, you killed Davy Crockett. So.
Oh, what did you thought you were Santa Ana or something,
yeah,
or what?
So,
Good Lord.
But that was that's the way they operated. But I wasn't the only, and I wasn't the only one that got picked on.
Oh gosh. The courage you had to stand up to your superior.
I did. And I learned that from my dad. My dad, when we had the restaurant, this was late 60s, early 70s. I still remember a lot of times where some of the folks that would come in would give him grief because he was Mexican.
Right. So when you got to the Marines and everything, any regrets or second thoughts, like homesickness, those kinds of things?
Oh yeah, I think everybody has them. Guys would call for their, you could hear them calling for their mom in their dreams. But the first day I was there, I said, "What the heck did I get into?" And I wasn't going to quit. I wasn't going to be the guy from El Paso, the only Mexican American in the platoon. I wasn't going to quit. And I didn't quit.
Yeah. And you went on, and I think I read somewhere where you said you weren't planning to do what, maybe half dozen years, something like that, and then get on with the rest of your life?
Well, my obligation was for 6 years. And what ended up happening is at that mark, I told one of my leaders, one of my commanders, that I was getting ready to go out. As a matter of fact, I brought a suit to interview for a job.
Right.
And he came to me and he said, I have this school that I can send you to and make a decision then. And I guess at the time, he saw something in me that, of course, I didn't see, that I had potential for future growth and future, responsibilities, which is really in leadership.
Leadership.
I went to the school. I loved the school. This was back in Quantico for a year.
Yes.
And I came back, got a good position, and the rest is history.
The rest is history. And I know you've talked about how you went to college, you got your degrees and everything, but that you were not a great test taker,
right?
Or you wouldn't do well on tests. And so some people thought maybe you were you were not going to amount to much.
That's right. So I was selected for a school, and this is the particular incident that always stands in my mind. By the way, my SAT scores, and I tell folks all the time, SAT scores don't measure heart. They don't measure your ganas, your desire. They don't measure any of that. But anyway, so I went to a particular school. I was selected for a school, Command and General Staff College in Leavenworth, Kansas. This was an Army school.
Okay.
I was a Marine. To be selected to one of those schools,
right?
You really have to have a good record.
Yeah.
So I show up, and they give us an exam. And it's kind of an exam to see your writing skills, your communication skills, basically.
Right.
And he calls me and he says, I don't think you're going to do very well, the one that did the exam. I said, sir, why not? And he said, well, I don't think because of your scores, I don't think your writing or your oral skills are going to be very good, because you do a lot of briefing in the military.
Sure, sure.
So I said, okay. So I went through the school.
Yeah.
And I like to write. And I wrote a couple of articles. And at the end of the school, they ended up publishing a couple of those articles. And so anytime I hear that you can't communicate and that you can't write because of test scores, I really take a second look at it.
Yeah.
And I would too. I tell folks all the time, that doesn't measure the whole person.
I don't disagree with you at all.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right. We're just getting started here with Major General Juan Ayala. So much more to get to here. This man has, I think Johnny Cash said, I've been everywhere. This man has been everywhere. We'll be back with more pickup lines coming up. Back with retired Major General Juan Ayala of the United States Marine Corps, 36 years, and we're talking about how you were going to do 6 years. You obviously did a lot more than that. And boy, you have been, I know you got married and you have 4 children and you did all of that. Was it, I read like 22 moves or something like that?
Yeah,
You've been to 60 countries?
I've been to 60 countries. I counted them up. And it's either I was deployed to them or I spent a school there a certain amount of time on temporary duty, or it was part of the time that I visited troops that were under my command. My last command, I commanded all 24 installations in the Marine Corps, and the Marine Corps has 24 installations all around the world, so I visited all my troops. Absolutely, yes.
Favorite place off the top of your head, or some place that people might not think about that was a pretty fascinating stop for you?
Well, when I was the chief of the humanitarian assistance branch, and I know that's an oxymoron because I'm a Marine humanitarian, but that was a great position.
Right.
And I was stationed in Stuttgart, Germany.
Germany, okay.
And I really enjoyed, Germany, but really what was fascinating to me, and I'd like to go back, is the continent of Africa. I got to travel there quite a bit, and I got from the northern part to the southern part to the middle part. But it's fascinating. It's not what we see in the news, reading the news, just like any place else. But yes, Africa was very fascinating.
My sister did some work in Kigali, in Rwanda, and so she would speak, I think, very similar to what you said. It's not exactly what you see on TV.
No.
I know you got married, like I said, and your wife's from El Paso as well.
We're both from El Paso, yes.
And you spent, what, was it 4 times away from your family? Like year-long deployments?
Well, for Iraq, for Operation Iraqi Freedom, yes. We were gone for deployments a year at a time I was there for the original invasion in 2002, and then the Marines kept coming back.
Right.
And my third tour was probably the one I remember the most, because I was embedded with the Iraqi army as a senior advisor, advising an Iraqi general as they were standing up their army. And that was a very tough year. That was 2006 to 7. And it was a very challenging year, not only for my Marines that were embedded with the Iraqis, but also for the Iraqis that we were taking a lot of losses. And I say we because we were really together.
Yeah. That's what I hear about, I mean, the military in general, but Marines in particular, just literally, figuratively sticking together.
Yeah,
the bond and everything.
It is a bond. It is a bond which is hard to explain to folks that haven't been in. And
right.
I still keep in touch with folks that I served with 40 years ago. As a matter of fact, we just had a reunion in Philadelphia for the 250th anniversary or birthday of the Marine Corps.
It's fantastic stuff.
But my advisor team, they still keep in touch with me, and we're going to keep in touch until we die.
So I mentioned, you left in, was it 2015, about 10 years ago?
Yes.
Did you struggle with acclimating back into civilian life? And
I really didn't struggle. I had some. I had thought that I wasn't going to work again, which I didn't last.
Because you went to El Paso, or you settled? You settled
we
here.
Settled here in New Braunfels.
You're right, because you have a place in New Braunfels.
I have a place in New Braunfels, and I didn't struggle at all. So I started looking for work, and I lucked out into this particular position as the Director of Military and Veteran Affairs for the city. But I didn't struggle. What I did have a little bit of struggle with was the culture. And it's nothing wrong with our culture in the city of San Antonio.
Right.
But I was used to, a lot of things that were, very punctual.
Unique to the military.
Very unique to the military.
Right. City Hall doesn't necessarily operate that way.
No, the military, very respectful.
Of course. No.
City has great leaders. The city has great people.
Right.
But some of the little nuances that it's hard to get used to, and I just tell you a little quick one. The first day I was at work, I ran off to a meeting and I told the secretary, I'll be back at 1600.
Right.
I came back and she was freaking out. She said, I Googled 1600. So those are little nuances.
4 o'clock, right?
4 o'clock.
Right.
And when the mayor walked in, I would stand up. I remember the first time I stood up, some lady said, the bathroom's over there, sir. Okay. But I joined the city. City didn't join me. And I tell that to the veterans. And I think that's I think something that we have to get used to.
And you've got a veteran in the mayor's office right now.
I have a veteran in the mayor's office. We do.
And so I guess in the most basic of terms, how do you describe, you clearly have a relationship with Mayor Jones and City Hall. How do you describe what you do on behalf of veterans, people who have served in the military community, which obviously is so big here in San Antonio?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. About 1 in 8 people in this area have something to do with the military, associated with the military. But I'm the liaison between the mayor, the city council, and our city departments, and the number one employer in the city of San Antonio, which is the military.
Sure.
And the military plays a big part in what we do in this city, not only economically, the economic impact is huge.
Right.
But if you look at things like COVID, that didn't have a fence line. If you look at Harvey, if you look at some of the tragedies that we've had, even the ones that the public isn't aware of, like those crazy shootings that have taken place in Thurland Springs and then Uvalde, they bought some of those folks here to Brooke Army Medical Center to be treated.
Correct.
And there's 80,000 approximately, largest joint base in the Department of Defense, 80,000 folks that work aboard Joint Base San Antonio. About 80% of them live in the community. So we're very integrated. Mayor Nurnberg used to say, the military is in our DNA and there's no fence line. We consider ourselves one large installation.
Right.
The other piece of it too, which I don't think the public realizes, is our level 1 trauma hospital here at BAMC, Brooke Army Medical Center. The top level 1 trauma, which is the most complex trauma, car wrecks, stabbing, shootings, warlike wounds.
Sure.
They treat about 6,000 or 7,000 people a year. 80% of them have nothing to do with the military. They're civilians from our community. So and some of them can't pay. And so you get our civilian community that gets world-class treatment.
Sure.
And what the military gets is these doctors get repetitive practices, so they're very good at battlefield injuries.
Yeah. I can only imagine some of the things they have to see. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
We have to step aside. A few more minutes here with General Ayala. Just a fascinating conversation. And what's to come militarily speaking in San Antonio? We'll talk about that when we come back. A few more minutes here with Major General Juan Ayala, United States Marine Corps. But tell me again, your current title with the City of San Antonio is the Director of
Public Works. The interim Director of Public Works.
Well, you got that. You got the zip up here, but the Director you're also the Military
and Veteran Affairs.
So again, he wears several hats. We visited recently. It was announced that the Warrior Games are coming back to San Antonio next year, which is a huge deal.
It is. Well, I ran the first Department of Defense Warrior Games in 2015.
In Quantico, right?
In Quantico, Virginia, when I was a commander of installations. And I had about 78 days to put them together. And I thought, this is going to be a chore. This is going to burden. What does this have to do with the military? But it was one of the most impactful things in my career, one of the most memorable things, because we take wounded, ill, and injured warriors, which are military members from all the services.
Right.
And we had some allies that came in with us, and they participate in these very Olympic-like events. There's about 8 of them or 9 of them, and it's very inspirational. You get blind archers, you get triple amputee swimmers, you get folks that you look at them and you go, boy, they're disabled, but you know what? They're abled.
For sure.
And they're very inspirational because they say, God, these folks have all these issues, physical issues. Some of them are hidden wounds.
Right.
But by the same token, it was good to see them, and it's good to see what our country does for these folks, because we have them every year. And we got them here. We got these games in Quantico, or we got these Warrior Games in 2020 in COVID. We had to cancel.
They were going to be here in San Antonio.
In San Antonio, first time in Texas.
COVID wiped that out.
So we lobbied. I take the mayor to the Pentagon at least once a year, and we lobbied every year to get them here. And we got them here in 2020. Of course, they were canceled, but we got them here in 26, and we'll get them in 28.
Very good. So that's next June.
Yes, that's next June.
There'll be a few hundred athletes here and all their families.
Yes.
And they get all supported and everything. And,
They do.
the people, the public is invited to come watch. It'll be, a lot of it will be here in the downtown area, right by the
It'll
convention
be a
center.
downtown area. A lot of it will be, some will be swimming events at the natatorium, but it'll be in the downtown area. But yes, the Fisher House pays for, I think, 3 folks that come with each one of them.
That's amazing.
And you will have these wounded and injured here in our city.
Competing for legit medals as the type you would see at the Olympics.
They do. And it's when they win a medal, they don't play the national anthem. What they do is they play their service song.
Of course.
And it's really good to see them because they're, these folks have been out of the military. They're back with their comrades. They're back in the game, and they're back to being with that camaraderie that you get when you're with each other.
That's fantastic. I know you're a Marine, but was it the Army North and South have made news recently about the possible relocation, or maybe it's imminent to is it Fort Bragg in North Carolina? And I just don't know if you can speak to that, or for people who are concerned about something like that and how it affects San Antonio's mantra as Military City USA. What's coming down on the horizon?
Well, yes, they're consolidating. What they're going to do is they're turning into Western Hemisphere Command, and they're going to move some of them there. Now, the numbers are small. We have 80,000, but every uniform is a job. Every uniform is a possibility of a veteran staying here in San Antonio. So that's the move. I mean, that thing is going to happen. But what the city of San Antonio does, and part of my job, part of the advocacy that I do, is to try to bring back more units and more troops here to backfill them. And that's what we've been doing. We've been trying to do through medical, Defense Health Agency folks, bring them here. There was an initiative or a call out for a new boot camp for the Coast Guard. We're trying for that to bring it here.
Okay.
And there's every time we go to the Pentagon, we don't go as Pentagon tourists.
That's right.
We always go for an ask. And we want to bring these folks here, and we want to bring them. We have a 300-year history with the military. It's not only economic, but it's also social, it's historical, and it's very impactful here with the military and our civilian community. Our partnership is very strong.
Right. Well, I mean, it's literally Military City USA.
It is. So, and we're the only city in the universe that can
say that legally. Yes, can say that and everything.
We're trademarked.
Yeah. No. How often do you just think back and it's 6-year-old peeling potatoes, or that first grade when you realize you're getting held back or you flunked first grade, and you think to yourself, you still, God willing, have much more to do here, but just think about what you've overcome. And I think by nature you're probably a humble guy, just being in the military and everything, and don't like to brag about yourself. But I mean, how often do you think about what you've overcome to get here?
The older I get, I think about it more often.
Yeah.
And what really humbles me, and what really makes me, and I don't introduce myself as General Ayala. I never have, I never will, and I don't flaunt my rank or anything like that, because I shouldn't. It's somebody else's turn.
But you did earn that, though.
But I did earn it. And you know what it's taught me is that I can't tell you the number of folks, especially in this community, especially when I go back home, when they come up to me and they shake my hand and they say, two things that really impact me. I've never shaken the hand of a general, and I've never, ever seen a Hispanic general officer.
Wow, there you go.
And so and now I'm getting goosebumps. That is very humbling to me. And, folks, my family has told me that's why you should let them know, not let them know, but, realize that there is an impact. And I really think that that's important, especially for our younger community, our younger men and women to seek those opportunities. I would have never done it, not only without, I did it on the backs and shoulders of so many folks that we've got to support. But I think that's important in this community, especially in these times.
Well, I got to believe somebody may see this, a little Juan Ayala out there, or the female version of a Juan Ayala is going to see this and realize, hey, I can make it out of El Paso or San Antonio, whatever it is, and go on and do great things.
I agree. There's obstacles out there for us, and sometimes we have to try twice as hard, and language barriers, test barriers, any of those barriers, I think we can overcome.
Yeah, well, you're living proof of all that. It's an honor to have you in the car here and to speak with you. This is a long overdue conversation I wanted to have for a long time. Long admired what you've done in your military career and everything, and I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you, and thank you for getting the stories out.
I'm trying.
I think they need to be told.
Indeed. Major General Juan Ayala, retired a U.S. Marine Corps, and again, he wears the city logo and everything. Public works, military affairs, et cetera, et cetera. The man does it all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ernie.
Happy
Thank
holidays.
you very much. Happy
And there's
holidays.
another episode of Pickup Lines. We'll do it again very soon. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I'm Ernie Zuniga. Bye for now.